Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the biology of sex steroids. We're going to demystify how your body actually regulates some of its absolute most powerful internal messengers. So let's just get right into it. Here's our roadmap. We're going to meet your sex steroids, look at competition, fear, and libido, uncover some surprising hormone killers, explore how breath, sleep, and light play a role, dig into exercise and temperature, and finally tackle the truth about supplements. Section 1. Meet your sex steroids, the foundation of optimization. Let's start with the absolute basics of what these chemicals actually are. We often kind of misunderstand these hormones as being strictly a male or female thing, but fundamentally, these sex steroids, like testosterone and estrogen, they're internal messengers that dictate your growth, your mood, your drive. Both estrogen and testosterone are absolutely crucial for everybody. It's really just the specific ratios of these hormones in our blood that determine their unique effects on the body. So it's this exquisite balance, right? Not an either-or situation. Like, did you know estrogen is literally essential for a healthy male libido? It's true. If a man's estrogen levels drop too low, his sex drive just completely vanishes. And on the flip side, men with really high testosterone, they actually have these enzymes called aromatases that are constantly, and I mean constantly, converting some of that testosterone straight into estrogen just to keep the whole system running smoothly. 1%. That is the steady annual rate at which male testosterone drops off after its massive peak during puberty. Our hormone levels definitely aren't static. They fluctuate incredibly across our lifespans, and, well, understanding this natural, gradual decline is really the first step in figuring out how to optimize them. Moving right along to Section 2, competition, fear, and libido. The brain connection. Let's look at the brain's massive role and how these hormones are released. Testosterone has this incredible effect of making effort feel good. Now, this really shifts how we think about it, doesn't it? The crucial takeaway here is that testosterone isn't just about, building muscle or growing a beard. It's deeply biologically tied to our motivation, our drive, and how we actually perceive psychological stress. It literally changes how hard work feels to us. Mechanically, it's fascinating. Testosterone binds directly to the amygdala. That's the little almond-shaped threat center in your brain. By doing that, it actively dampens our anxiety and lowers our threshold for fear. This gears us up for competition and makes us want to seek out novelty. And get this, when we compete, our brain releases dopamine, which then signals the body to make even more testosterone. To put it in a purely reproductive context, testosterone drives the motivation, the seeking out of sex, while estrogen actually promotes the receptivity and the act itself. All right, Section 3, surprising hormone killers. What's tanking your levels? We've seen what boosts these steroids, so now we have to impartially look at the hidden things that unexpectedly crash them. What secretly tanks your hormones without you even realizing it? You might think you're doing everything right, working out, eating well, but we've got to ask ourselves what everyday factors might be silently sabotaging our endocrine system behind the scenes. 50%. Shockingly, expecting fathers experience a massive drop in testosterone by up to 50%. And this is completely natural. It's driven by a biological spike in a hormone called prolactin as they prepare for parenthood, which basically tells the body to dial way back on testosterone and the desire to seek out competition. But outside of parenthood, there are some really problematic hormone killers lurking around. Take illness. When you get sick, your immune system releases pro-inflammatory cytokines, specifically one called IL-6. This molecule literally travels through your body and shuts down your biological desire to mate, severely crashing both testosterone and estrogen. Then there's sleep apnea. If you're underbreathing at night, you're missing out on the deep sleep your gonads need for cell turnover. We also see that opioid use, even low doses over time, dramatically disrupts the brain neurons that tell your body to make hormones. And finally, high stress. This is a big one. Both cortisol, your stress hormone, and your sex steroids are made from the exact same raw material, cholesterol. If you're chronically stressed, your body basically steals that cholesterol to make cortisol, leaving absolutely nothing left over to manufacture testosterone or estrogen. Section 4. Breathe, sleep, and light. Behavioral biohacks. Now that we know the pitfalls, let's get into some highly actionable everyday behaviors you can use to optimize your biology. Here is a real game changer you can implement immediately. Nasal breathing. Switching to breathing through your nose, even during cardio, can drastically reduce apnea and nighttime stress. By nasal breathing, you actively lower your cortisol levels, which, as we just learned, frees up that precious raw cholesterol your body desperately needs to manufacture your sex hormones. And this optimization goes even further with light. This step-by-step pathway shows exactly why getting morning sunlight is basically non-negotiable. Viewing bright light early in the day triggers your brain to release dopamine. That dopamine tells your pituitary gland to release luteinizing hormone, or LH. And then that LH travels directly down to your ovaries or testes, giving them the signal to wake up and produce sex steroids. Light and hormones, they are incredibly intimately connected.
Section 5. Exercise and temperature. Physical triggers. Let's look at how physical strain acts like a volume dial for your endocrine system.
The type and actually the order of your workouts matters immensely. Heavyweight training, specifically in that 1 to 8 rep range where you stop just short of failure, creates a significant spike in testosterone lasting up to 48 hours. High-intensity sprinting does exactly the same thing. But look at endurance exercise over 75 minutes. It actually decreases testosterone because it spikes cortisol. So the big takeaway here, if you're mixing them in the same session, always lift heavy before you do long endurance cardio to protect those hormone levels.
What about temperature? Well, believe it or not, jumping into a cold plunge or an ice bath indirectly supports hormone production. The cold shock causes your blood vessels to constrict tightly. But when you get out, you get this massive rebound vasodilation. Your blood vessels open wide, rushing fresh, oxygenated blood right back into your vital tissues, including the gonads. You're essentially force-feeding the very organs that manufacture these hormones.
All right, Section 6, the truth about supplements, optimization and caution. To wrap up the biology, we really need to navigate the somewhat murky world of hormone supplementation and therapies.
There is a ton of buzz right now around natural supplements. Compounds like Tunket Ali actually have the science backing them up to show they can liberate bound testosterone, making more of it free and active in your blood. Then there's Fedosia agristis, which can increase that luteinizing hormone we talked about. And we can't forget HCG, a potent prescription drug that mimics LH to boost fertility. Wild fact for you, before they figured out how to synthesize it, HCG was literally sourced from a black market of pregnant women's urine. Crazy, right? Today, whether it's these supplements or hormone replacement therapy for things like menopause, they can be highly effective, but they absolutely require strict monitoring through regular blood work.
And that brings us to a very critical warning. Extreme caution is required here. We have to remember that more is not always better. Tissues in your body that rapidly reproduce, like the cells in the testes, ovaries, and breasts, they are highly vulnerable. Because these sensitive tissues literally thrive on androgens and estrogens, unnaturally elevated sex hormones can directly encourage the growth of tumors. So reckless hormone manipulation, it is incredibly dangerous. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final vital thought. We've seen how our basic biology absolutely craves morning sunlight, nasal breathing, acute physical effort, and deep sleep. Yet we live in a modern world of chronic stress, mouth breathing at computer screens, and artificial light at midnight. So, knowing how deeply sensitive our hormones are our modern lifestyles fundamentally incompatible with our ancient biology? What simple change can you make today to signal your ancient body that it's safe to thrive right now? Thanks for exploring the science with us.